Okay. So in chemistry, what is a bond? Bond is an electrostatic force of attraction. Okay. Bond is an electrostatic force of attraction. Okay. So what is the meaning of electrostatic? Electrostatic means between a positive and a negative particle. Between a positive and a negative particle. Okay. So if one particle is positively charged and the other particle is negatively charged, they start attracting each other. And this attraction is called a bond. Okay. So in chemistry, there are three types of bonds. What are those three types of bonds in chemistry? If you want to copy it, you can. So let me rub the board. So in chemistry, we are going to study in our Edexcel syllabus, we have three types of bonding. Okay, so what are those three types of bond? Ionic, covalent, and metallic. Ionic, covalent, and metallic. So one by one, we will do these three. So let's start with ionic bonding. So what is an ionic bond? In ionic bond, in an ionic bonding, it takes place when metal react with a non-metal. Okay, when metal and non-metal react with each other. Just give me 1 minute. Let me close the door. There is so much noise outside.
Okay.
Okay, so when metal and non-metal react with each other, first of all, why do they react with each other? Why the reaction is taking place in between the particles? Why do the particles react? The reason is why they react. So what is the reason behind it? The reason is they want to have complete outer shell. What is the meaning of complete outer shell? Complete outer shell means having 8 electrons in the last shell. So every atom, whether it is a metal or it is a non-metal, they want to achieve 8 electrons in their last shell. They want to achieve 8 electrons in their last shell. And if they do not have 8 electrons in the last shell, they participate in the chemical reaction. They participate in the chemical reaction. So always remember that metals, when we talk about metals, who are metals in the periodic table? Group number 1 elements are metals. So those who are in group number 1, they have 1 electron in the last shell. They have 1 electron in the last shell. That's why they are in group number 1. So during the chemical reaction, what do? They lose their 1 electron. They get rid of this 1 electron. How? We will see it later. First, we will see the background. So all of them who are in group number 1, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium, they have one electron in the last shell, and when they react, in order to have 8 electrons in their last shell, they lose one electron. And when they lose one electron, they get over them a +1 charge. How? We will see it now. So please copy it now. Copy karo.
Okay.
Tell me when you finish copying it.
Okay.
जी कपड़े धो दिए जनी जरा समा की बत्ती ऑन कर दो बहुत अंधेरा हो रहा है यार
Yes,
डन
Gandhi.
हिबा शले
Yeah.
अच्छा similarly yes it's okay now group 2 those who are in group number 2 we are talking about metals we are talking about metals okay so group 1 are also metals group 2 are also metals so those who are in group number 2 they have got 2 electrons in the last shell okay 2 electrons in the last shell and when they react with non-metals what do they lose 2 electrons they lose 2 electrons and when they lose 2 electrons what happens why they are losing 2 electrons to have complete outermost shell to have 8 electrons in the last shell so when they lose 2 electrons they get a +2 charge over them okay +2 charge similarly those who are in group number 3 they have got 3 electrons in the last shell they have got 3 electrons in the last shell so during the chemical reaction they lose 3 electrons and they get a +3 charge they get a plus 3 charge. They lose 3 electrons and they get a plus 3 charge. Please copy it for group 2 and group 3.
Okay.
Hmm.
Fun.
Okay. Now, non-metals. So who are non-metals? Those who are in group number 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So those who are in group number 5, 6, and 7, we are talking about now non-metals. Okay. So those who are in group number 5, they have got 5 electrons in the last shell. So in order to get 8 electrons, in order to get 8 electrons, it is difficult for them to lose 5 electrons, but it is easier to gain less number of electrons. So what they do, they gain 3 electrons because it is easier to gain less number of electrons. But it is difficult to lose 5 electrons because 5 electrons are so many. So 3 electrons are less. So they gain 3 electrons, and when they gain 3 electrons, those who are in group number 5, they get a minus 3 charge over them because electrons are the negatively charged particles. So when they gain three negatively charged particles, so they get a minus 3 charge over them. Similarly, those who are in group number 6, they have got 6 electrons in the last shell. So how many electrons they need? They need 2 more electrons. So it is easier for them to gain 2 electrons. It is easier for them to gain 2 electrons rather than losing 6 electrons. It is easier for them to gain 2 electrons rather than losing 6 electrons. So when they gain 2 electrons, they get a minus 2 charge over them. They get a minus 2 charge over them. All right.
Okay.
Acha. Copy it and then I'll rub.
Okay.
I'm writing for group 7 also. Group 7, they have got 7 electrons in the last shell. And during the chemical reaction, it is easier for them to gain 1 electron and complete the 8 electrons in the last shell. So they gain 1 electron. They gain 1 electron. And what charge they get? They get a minus 1 charge.
Okay, done.
Okay. All right. Now we have talked about this group number one and group number two. Okay. Group number one, two, and three, and transition elements also have the same thing. Depends upon the number of electrons in the last shell. Now see, when metal react with non-metal, always remember in ionic bonding, metals always lose the electrons. Metals always lose the electrons and gets a positive charge. Okay. Non-metals always gain the electrons and get the negative charge. Okay. So what is an ionic bond? What happens in ionic bonding? In ionic bonding, complete gain and loss of electrons. Complete gain and loss of electrons take place between metals and non-metals. Copy it, then we will move to the next one.
Okay. Done.
Okay. Now see, for example, now sodium belongs to group number 1 and chlorine belongs to group number 7. Sodium is a pure metal, chlorine is a pure non-metal. Okay, sodium is a pure metal, chlorine is a pure non-metal. Now they are going to react with each other. So what is the atomic number of sodium? 11. 2, 8, 1. Electronic configuration is 281. Chlorine, atomic number 17. Electronic configuration is 2, 8, and 7. Now see, in the last shell of sodium, there is only one electron. In the last shell of chlorine, there is 7 electrons. So what sodium will do? Sodium will give this one electron to chlorine. Okay, sodium will completely lose its electron and will give it to chlorine. As a result, now sodium has electronic configuration 2,8. See, the last shell is full. The last shell is complete. And chlorine has now, after gaining one electron, electronic configuration 2, 8, and 8. See, the last shell is full. Before the chemical reaction, sodium had 11 electrons and 11 protons. 11 electron means each electron has a -1 charge. So 11 electron has -11 charge. Each proton has a +1 charge. So 11 has a +11 charge. So -11 and +11 is 0. So before the chemical reaction, the charge on sodium was 0. That's why we say that atoms are the neutral particles. Similarly, before the reaction, chlorine had 17 electrons and 17 protons. 17 negatively charged particles and 17 positively charged particles, that is equal to 0. So before the chemical reaction, both sodium and chlorine were the neutral particles and they had 0 charge over them. But after the chemical reaction, now sodium has lost 1 electron. So now it has got 10 electrons, but the number of protons are still 11. Because protons are deep inside the nucleus. They cannot move here and there. So 10 electron means -10, 11 proton means +11. So -10 and +11 is equal to +1. Is equal to +1. Okay. So this is the reason that after losing one electron, sodium will get a +1 charge. Why? Because now one negatively charged particle is lesser than protons. One electron is less than protons. Similarly, chlorine has gained one electron. Chlorine has gained one electron. So the electronic configuration is now 2, 8, and 8. So now it has got 18 electrons, but the number of protons are still 17. So -18 and +17 is equal to how much? -1. So after gaining one electron, chlorine will get a -1 charge. Did you understand this? Heba.
Yes.
Okay, copy it and then I will draw the diagram.
All right.
minutes left, Iba. Okay, so would you like to join again for some time?
All right.
Okay. Have you finished copying it?
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Shall I stop the class and
Okay.
join again after 10 minutes? Okay.
All right.
Join again.